So, well, it will be a separated presentation. We will start with the double layout, but nevertheless, well, I just put that quote there because it's exactly how I think it's not a small step for gymnasts, but I think it's really a giant leap for the coaches to teach, to spot, to coach these two elements, the double straight and the triple salto. So we will start with the double straight, with some, you know, to get an idea from double pitch and also from platform, so we can have an idea of what the gymnasts they need to perform to have, you know, as clear as possible what is this kind of elements, and not just the top, because we normally tend to look high, we tend to look at the top and we forget all the work that's done below, all that trampoline that puts them in the air. Nevertheless, it's important that we understand this basic concept. And in all my presentations, when I'm talking about dynamic elements, I will bring this up because it is really important. If we understand what are the actions doing, you know, what are our body segments doing, it's really easy. And if this inertia concept is easy to understand for a rest body, you know, if it's rest, it will stay still. The important thing is what happens when we are doing movement. And inertia tells us that we can change the speed of any rotation by changing the body shape, you know, like this ballerina or a high skater. If you know, we always see them starting spinning open arms, and then they start closing, and speed increases. And that is due to that angular momentum conservation, and the angular velocity will increase. So the bigger the area, the slower we rotate, okay? And it's really important for us to understand that when you do a double straight, you will rotate really or slower than in other body shapes. And this is just a really cool video that I got permission to show you, so you can see this is without gravity. You just watch how fast it spins from straight to pike to tuck, and now when it opens, immediately it slows it down. It is, I'll put it again because, you know, it's really amazing to understand. You see, the segments of the body starts closing around an axis, immediately rotates faster, and then when it opens the segments, immediately almost stops. And that is really important for us to understand, that if you go from that position with open, all open body, straight arms, to a tuck, fully tuck position, you will rotate 5 times faster. But for us in the double straight, the important thing is that action of lowering the arms. And if you go from a really correct position in the beginning with straight body, you know, using all the inertia possible, to just lowering fast the arms, you will rotate 40% faster. And you have to take notion that 90% of the mistakes, they will happen on takeoff, on the moment of the beginning of the flight. They will not happen in the air. You know, it's when bases and tops are connected to push. That's where 90% of mistakes happen. So I think, well, I have some drills for you to I separate this in 4 moments, okay? For the top, to understand the rotation, how can they change speed, how can they go from the first to the second salto, and understanding the landing. So I just have some simple drills for the tops to understand this, you know, just with a rubber band. So they can understand the importance of having a tight body and not a sloppy body. This one also for them to understand the importance of the arms and on the rotation. So open arms, closing, increase speed, open and increase speed, open and increase speed. This is really a nice thing for you to try with them. This is for them to understand again how rigid the body should be and the action of the arms in the beginning of the takeoff. Again, sometimes they get out on the double straight, arching too much the back. And when they arch the back too much, they are standing the back on the floor and not the chest on the ceiling. And these exercises for them to understand the stiffness, the tightness of the body, they are really important. This is one I use very much with the elastics, okay? It is also conditioning for me, which is important. You see, when the gymnast push back, I push in the different direction, and when she pushes down, she will kick the hips up, okay? So up. This is pretty much the same as we did on the parallel bars, but with my assist, okay? And this is one I particularly like for them to understand the importance of the arms, okay? If they don't do anything and they lift off perfectly vertical, they will go slow rotation. So they will just do 2 quarters, okay? So if I can show it again. This one. So just don't move the arms, and you will do just 2 quarters of a salto, okay? So this is another for them to understand the change, okay, of the first to the second. And it's good while you are young and they are small. When you start getting old, probably you will not do it, especially with heavier tops. But this is really nice. I've done it, you know, a few times, and it's really cool for them to understand what they can do from first to second. We have the bungees, so we use them for them to understand the arm action, you know, from hop, and then when they fast lower the arms, the hips go immediately up, okay? And this is really, really nice for them to experiment, you know, like those bungee in those ferries. And this is just a small drill for the bases and also for the top, okay? It's just for them to understand as catching as high as possible, and for the top, you know, to have a hollow back. So sometimes they don't, you know, I try to explain them, I want them to do the end of a flick. Okay, in the end, they should kick a little bit feet forward so they can protect the ankles, and they will help the bases lifting their chest, okay? And this is the kind of, you know, like end of a round of flick salto. So this is pretty much some of the drills we normally go step by step. But then for the bases, there are some things that are really important. And if you talk about double pitch, you have to realize that the bases are not connected like in a platform. So the coordination between them is really important. The synchronization of bending legs and pushing is really important because the bases are connected through the top, okay? There's no, they are not grabbing each other. So it's really important that all the seating, all the coordination is done perfectly, flawlessly, so there's no inclination on the vertical jump. Sometimes my gymnasts complain a little bit, I spend too much doing just bending and throwing, but you know, I think we should do that until we feel safe. No one will go faster or making any problem in the takeoff, okay? It's important also for them to understand that fast push-up at the end. So, you know, if you think that this movement is like a rocket going on the sky, the rocket doesn't start immediately. So it will start slowly to lift all that big mass, and then when it's easy, it's like when you start pushing a car, you don't immediately start pushing really fast. It's hard in the beginning because there's a big mass, and because of inertia, the car is stopped. It wants to continue, stop. So you have to make a big force to start moving. So all the movement should be from a really powerful from the beginning to really fast in the end. And they need to understand that. And finally, anticipating the landing. So it is a video of you know, this in slow motion. You can see the coordinate bending. The top doesn't bend that much, and then the fast so leg action, torso action, and then arm action, and then trying to prepare as high as possible. So I'll try to show it again. So they bend, and then everything starts with the legs, and then go a little bit on the back, and then a lot in the arms. Then you wait for the top. Hopefully she will take a long time. And then you try to catch as high as possible, anticipating all the landing. So this is the general idea. As you see, the top starts fully straight, okay? Arms not too much arched in the beginning, okay? To maximize the moment of inertia. And then she will lower the arms and increase the rotation, okay? And that yellow dot that you see is approximately where should be the center of mass. And it's really important that because of this action of fastening, lowering the arms, you will see the center of mass almost doesn't change, and the top rotated 2/4 of the salto, okay? And it's really, it's that moment in the air where she almost stops and she rotates 2/4 of a salto, and the center of mass just came down, you know, little bit. Everything because the arms were really fast getting down, so increasing the rotation. And then preparing the landing. It's much nicer in the photo that it was in the actual video, because the bases, they catch a little bit lower, but here it's really nice. So it's just two examples. This one and this one. I show this one because, you know, it was a joint venture. Sergei started this move with this trio, and they were almost taking out of the belt. And then a few weeks later, I went in and we were able to take it out. The catching was not that perfect. I had to replace a base because she almost fell. But you know, the general idea is this: you open as much as possible, you close as fast as you can, and then don't use your chin to lead the movement. Everything with your hips. Okay? And that is it.